Hello, and welcome to It's a Fandom Thing. I'm your host, Erin Marlowe, and each week I'm joined by a panel of guests to discuss all things fandom and pop culture, primarily from a female perspective. You'll find everything from fanfic, to cosplay, to Schitt's Creek, to Supernatural, and everything in between. So put on your favorite piece of fandom merch, set aside that fanfic that you're writing about your OTP, and sit back and enjoy this week's episode. Hello, and welcome to this special episode of It's a Fandom Thing. On this special episode, I am so excited to be sitting down with composer Ben Harlan to discuss his work on the new movie Goodbye June, which follows a group of fractured siblings who must come together under sudden and trying circumstances. So, hi, Ben. I'm so excited to talk with you.
Hi. Yeah, great to be here.
Thank you so much. And I just wanted to start out with, I know you already knew Kate Winslet, this is Kate Winslet's directorial debut. But what was it about the project specifically that attracted to you or spoke to you?
Well, I mean, the script immediately spoke to me, actually. I had a look at it very early on in the process, and the themes in there are just very, very relatable. There are such strong and interesting relationships. The relationships go on a journey. Then there's the theme of death, which is, of course, always interesting. And then there's this theme of snow. And I mean, it's very subtle, but I mean, it's there. And in fact, I didn't realize until watching some of the edits that really it's more apparent than you realize from the script. But the idea of Helen Mirren's character June coming back as snow. I mean, it's just a little idea, but it's kind of great to have that. And as a composer, these were all things that could feed into the mix and could inspire some gestures.
Yeah, I agree. I noticed that too. And usually you'll see in movies that are about grief, it'll be something like a flower blooming or spring or summer coming about. So it is a different approach to have it be snow falling, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, of course, an incredible cast as well. That was very attractive. That was and knowing Kate, yeah, that was super exciting to be involved with her movie.
And this is also your feature film debut as a composer. And of course, like I've said, you're working with Kate Winslet, who is making her directing debut. And I know you both have known each other for a while. So how did that already established deep level of trust shape the experience?
Well, I mean, I think that it's all about being able to be open with the person that you're working with. I'm very experienced at collaborating with people from all kinds of artistic backgrounds and not artistic backgrounds, and she's obviously a great collaborator. She was insistent from the beginning that I could just send her ideas whenever I felt like it, just text them to her, and she was great at providing feedback. She was great at providing, even when she wasn't so into some ideas, she was always try to give a kind of a positive spin so that there was always something that I could take away from that. So I think that level of trust that really impacted the work, the speed of work as well. So we could just do things very quickly. I mean, straight away after I read that script that Joe Anders wrote, I immediately wrote the June's theme music and just a little mocked up a demo and sent that to her. And she just had that then on her phone. I could trust her that I could just send that to her and that she would listen to that with a kind of an open mind. And then that kind of that worked very, very well for her. But I think that trust works very, very well because we'd worked together on various little projects before, not film things, but in fact, once we did a Bugsy Malone together in an education project. Just being able to say to somebody, if you've had the experience of saying, "Oh, can we do this tomorrow?" and then it's there, that's great. That's we could make things happen. She knew I could make things happen, and
yeah, that had to be also, I would think, for you for having this experience, being able to have someone there that you already knew. Yeah, would enhance it, I would think. Yeah,
absolutely. Huge. I mean, it was a nerve-wracking kind of experience to go into with all these top level people, and the fact that she was a pal really helped because she could, yeah, she just, and she anyway, her energy is so kind of relaxed, and she just makes things sort of flow, and she invites everybody's ideas all the time, and so she's very good at that.
Yeah, and she's very, very good at directing too. So, yeah, I was very impressed. So you mentioned it already, June's theme. So can you speak a little bit more about June's theme and how it serves as sort of like maybe the anchor of the film?
Yeah, so there's this kind of minor third element, and then there's an unresolved sort of dominant element. So basically, it's an unresolved thing. It's a piece of music that can go round and round and round, and which it does. And it also, there are moments of it that appear in the other parts of the score sometimes. It also slightly mirrors the Georgia song that is sung in there. I mean, it's a minor third, very subtle. I mean, minor thirds are everywhere in music. So, but that was something that sort of just happened to work. And so, for example, when June finally does die, there's this that there is still parts of the June's theme in there in the piano that come through, and elsewhere in the score. So the idea of it being an anchor is real. It's definitely has things going there. I mean, it's interesting. The final result sort of was exactly the same as the initial demo that we made. We tried other instrumentations for it. We tried variations. We tried building it more, and whenever we tried to, it sort of pushed you away a little bit and sort of made it feel like it was too much. So I think that kind of just gentle time passing unresolvedness that provided this sort of background texture to this film. The inevitability as well. I mean, it's called Goodbye June. You know what's going to happen. It was never going to be a surprise. So that music it doesn't have a surprise in it. It's just providing this push, and of course in that montage scene, it's not a, it's a very clever montage because it doesn't just have random stuff going on. It has all the things, all the bits of life, all the kind of messy bits of life that that happen. You have the people trying to, well, the daughter is trying to do things with the drum and the crystals, and and then people are coming for lunch, and June can't drink anything, so she has to pretend, and the children are there, and people are doing stuff, moving things around, trying to get the TV to work. So all of that kind of the mundane stuff and the not so mundane, all happening in that montage with that music that's just providing this. Yeah, we're keeping on going. We're keeping on going through the living part of this.
Yeah, and it also struck me with that montage when you'd have like her grandkids there, it almost seemed like the music for some reason reminded me of like kids skipping or something. I don't
Right.
know if that was at all intentional, but
Oh, that's interesting that you say. I mean, in a different moment, there is a part where one of the kids gets out of the car,
mm,
and the music does do a little bounce just around that moment. So the energies of those children, yeah, they were. I responded to them very much so.
yeah, everybody was so good. I did just want to also mention that for everyone listening, like all the performances are fantastic, including the kids. So, yeah. And I was also struck while watching this film is how the score matched the volume and emotional state of the characters in each moment. And one scene that really, really stuck out to me was the scene where Connor, this one of the son of June, is kind of panicking at the hospital. And he goes to the elevator and he's going like to like the fifth floor. And it seemed like the subtle notes, like there was plucked strings. And then it even sounded like a heartbeat in the background. And it so worked so seamlessly with the emotional state that he was in. So can you discuss a little bit of why it is important to align a score maybe with the character's emotions?
It's an interesting one. I tend not to necessarily think of it as emotions in a kind of like that's a sad scene, that's a happy scene. I tend to kind of be inspired by or want to kind of match the choreography, and that sounds a little bit weird, but okay, of course that's a tense scene, so I had to make something tense. But it was also about matching this paciness So that bass, I mean, that bass is providing that heartbeat, that dum dum dum. It's a little bit offbeat, and he's a little bit off, so it's rocking. So that so that is almost like a dance. The Connor character is emotionally unstable, so the music is emotionally unstable, is unstable, is unstable musically. And I mean, there are other scenes in the film where I was fascinated with people's eye movements. There's a particular moment where the Helen Mirren character June is with Andrea Riseborough and Kate Winslet, and they're writing the letter together. And it's a great close up of all three of them, and you see, and the way that Kate's edited it and everything, their eyes are sort of, they're just doing very particular kind of movements, and it's almost like a dance. And when composing music to that, I mean, I was watching the edit, and I knew the material that I was going to be using, but I didn't necessarily know the timing of the material. And it's not that I wanted to match the movements of the eyeballs. It's that I wanted to somehow make it into a choreographed piece, which sounds, I don't know, it sounds unusual. I don't know. I haven't heard people talking about that before. The idea of choreographing things that aren't a dance, but
Yeah.
And it's not making them into a dance, but it's reflecting their timing and the energy, which doesn't necessarily mean you're matching the timing, but you're somehow providing a space for it to exist in, if that makes sense. Energy. So again, this thing, I mean, the emotions of that scene when they're writing the letter are incredibly deep and complicated. The music that I wrote for it is not particularly complicated. So it's in that sense, it's not directly matching it, but it is somehow gluing those movements, if that makes sense. It's a difficult thing to define because also
I would think.
you don't want to overdo, right? You also don't want to kind of plaster a whole load of emotional stuff on an emotional scene. And Kate was very, very good at always making sure that everything was as understated as it could be. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's very interesting, especially saying the choreography, because I do think, when you're watching a movie, horror is my personal favorite genre. I love horror, and this is not even close to a horror movie, but you notice in that sound is so important. And I do agree it is kind of that choreography of like going along with the movements of what is going on, but doing it in such a way where it's so subtle you don't really even notice it.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're anything like me, once the holidays are over, you might start feeling like you've got like a big spending hangover. The drinks, the holiday food, the gifts, it just all adds up. Luckily, Mint Mobile is here to help you cut back on overspending this January with 50% off unlimited premium wireless. Before I switched to Mint Mobile, I didn't have the high-speed data or the very reliable 5G network. In fact, I'd go like a couple blocks away and I'd lose my coverage. But now with Mint Mobile, I no longer have to worry about that. Plus, no more hidden charges on my phone bill. And with plans starting at $15 a month, you can see your phone bill cut in like half. I switched, and so should you. Mint Mobile's end-of-year sale is still going on, but only until the end of the month. So cut out big wireless's bloated plans and unnecessary monthly charges with 50% off 3, 6, or 12 months of unlimited. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text, delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. This January, quit overspending on wireless with 50% off unlimited premium wireless. Plans start at $15 a month at mintmobile.com/fandom. That's mintmobile.com/fandom. Limited time offer, upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required, $15 a month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra, initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. So speaking of that, music is such a powerful tool in filmmaking and can significantly influence how viewers feel while watching a movie.
And I really appreciated that with your score. It was so seamless and so seamlessly integrated into the story that it never felt like out of place or distracting at all.
Hmm.
And why do you think it's so important for a score to avoid being distracting or too dominant?
So when working with Kate, I heard her talking about when she was editing the film, just talking about her editing before I sort of get onto answering that question, because I think the answer is sort of in what she said, which I thought was really interesting. When she edited the film, she was conscious that one edit would maybe reveal too much in a story and push you away. Whereas keep if you keep on letting people not guess but have to step in and lean forward, that's that sounds like a very sensible kind of a reflection that she made, and clearly works. And I think that's what music can do as well. I think that I touched upon it up earlier. If you say too much, if you reveal too much, you don't want the audience to become conscious of that. You don't want an audience to sort of wake up out of the dream of watching the film or hearing the story. You want an audience to be gathered and to be focused in on what's happening. Sometimes that might be to do with the music. You might want them to be focusing in on the music at some moments. Generally, the score will be in the background for something, and you just want to make sure that the story, the narrative, is just at the knife edge where it's giving you enough, and also making you work a little bit so that you're stepping in. And a score can do that. It's sometimes difficult to explain or to understand how you're doing it, because you're trying to make things that are, I mean, even if it's music that's not for a film score, it needs to do that too. Symphonic works or a piece of jazz or something. It never wants to give it to you everything that's straight away. It needs to it needs you to do a little bit of work in your mind, right? And I think that's really key. That was key for this film, definitely, and something that I really enjoyed. I really enjoy that level of, I suppose, subtlety, or just trying to make the music do something very particular, and so it's working hard, but the audience is not aware that it's working hard. I like that. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree because, you don't want to be, like you have said, you don't want to be taken out of what you're watching and be aware of not be aware of what's going on, but be aware of like the mechanics too much. You don't want
yeah,
to be focused on that too much. So, yeah, yeah. And that's why I appreciated the score so much because it was so seamless. It was like another character, but not in a way where it was distracting. It was just kind
mm,
of just fit in there to
yeah.
me. So, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you
Great.
did.
And you talked about snow already, but this film is set around Christmas time. Did that impact the score at all?
Uh, yeah, probably in that we had a glockenspiel. We nearly had a harp, but maybe again that was a little bit too much. And there's a good King Wenceslas in there. That was an inspired moment from Kate. Actually, she's sort of had a I think she had a night where she was just going through all different Christmas songs, trying to figure on the one that had the correct sort of tempo. Again, this thing about tempo, about gesture and speed and choreography. She was trying to find the right Christmas song that just said Christmas for that one scene, and had the right beat, for want of a better word. So she hit upon good King Wenceslas. And otherwise, let's think. No, I think maybe not. No, I mean the snow was
Yeah.
snowfall, but not necessarily the theme of Christmas. No, I think that is more of a I think that's more something that you're getting from the film rather than the score. I think that's something, because it's also, I mean, it's clearly evident in the film that it's Christmas, and that's a very strong point. But there was never actually a discussion to try and make the score Christmassy. But the
Mhm.
glockenspiel does that super well, you know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, and it never came across as like overly Christmassy. I just was curious about that just because of the setting. But I think the snow part, yeah.
Which is weird because I noticed there's, Bruce Springsteen always uses glockenspiel. So, so what's that about? It's, the glockenspiel is the most incredibly adaptable instrument.
Everybody should use it. Yeah.
Affordable as well.
And I know now you have leaped into composing full time. So congratulations on that, because that's, I'm sure, a huge for you. So what was it about composing this score that helped you make that decision?
I think meeting some really fantastic and working with some fantastic musicians. The orchestrator Ben Morales Frost. I'd never met him before, and that was that was fantastic. We have now a friendship and a working relationship, and that worked really well. And so James Taylor, the music supervisor, he was great to work with and had great feedback and was sort of responsive and great in the studio when we recorded it at Abbey Road. It was great to have his ears there. And then the editor, Lucia Zucchetti, also another member of the team who I had great conversations with about getting cues right and finding just the right gesture and the right length of time. Kate Solomon, the other producer, also an inspirational person to have there. I think meeting these people and realizing that actually the world of filmmaking can be really wonderful and doesn't have to be a big stressy, terrible thing. I realize I was incredibly lucky to work with these people, but the fact that it can happen once doesn't. It could happen again. So I feel really positive. I'd like that to happen again. I'd like to work with people who are so gifted and so hardworking and so open and flexible and generous. And it was a really creative time making that film. Yeah, it was wonderful. So I suppose the answer is that was the experience of a lifetime. But hopefully I'll have another one.
I hope you do. And especially recording at Abbey Road with its history must have been, wow. That must have been amazing.
That was absolutely amazing. And Gregory Porter, of course, sings the credits. So he turned up in the session, in the recording session, and was with us for about 4 or 5 hours, just watching and listening. And we had some good conversations. And he was sort of he said to me, I'm just trying to learn your language. I don't think he was necessarily learning the language, but I think he was interested in the orchestration that I was using so that he could reflect that in his song, which he did. And so that was wonderful. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah. And it also speaks to how film really, it takes a village to make a film. I don't think people realize how hard it is every film is almost a miracle in that respect.
Incredible. And this was just the score, right? And the orchestra was incredible. The copyists, Tristan Noon, who came along, he did all the copying for us, the actual parts, the music, and the engineers. Yes, Such Sweet Thunder with the engineers, and they did the masters in their studio. And it was an extraordinary experience.
I love that. I hope you get to have many more of those. So wishing that for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the film, of course, explores grief and parental loss. And also, I think, of course, inner, family dynamics and the sibling dynamics and everything. And it also has a light tone with like lots of humor, lots of humorous moments.
Yeah.
And did you integrate any of that into the score? Because I know some of the score is kind of lighter. And
yeah, we tried. We actually tried a few sort of slightly more humorous bits of score, and somehow again it didn't work with that idea of trying to keep back. I mean, the Helen character who's sort of this kind of slightly zany character. We tried some little lighter pieces of music around her, and it just didn't work. So it turned her into too much of a comic, which it wasn't. She wasn't being that. So we stayed away from that the humorous part. But I think the minimalist aspect of the score and the sort of unresolved cycles, the cyclical elements of the score, were trying to reflect this time passing and the grief again. I mean, I remember one of the cues I ended with a minor chord, and the feedback was, "Can we not end with a minor chord? Not with a sad chord. We want to move forward. We we don't want to underline it too much. We don't want to say, okay, this is sad now. That's evident. We need to end with a kind of a, well, in fact, the particular cue I'm thinking of is when she dies again, and the last chord, it stacks up and it goes very, very high, as if going up or something. I don't know, but it doesn't end with a sort of stagnating, this is now a sad moment.
Yeah, and I appreciate that it didn't go too zany with the Helen character, because I think that's really easy to do with a character like her. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And so, Toni Collette, she's so naturally kind of gifted. I mean, she's obviously a fantastic actor, but yeah, the way that she moved around, again, the choreography, the major way she moved around, she was just doing her own thing. That we didn't need to underline that. She was doing it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to give away one of her emotional journeys in this, or one of her personal journeys, but it also, I think, there's deeper stuff going on there of something that she is going through at that time, and that also with the grief and everything makes it more powerful. So, yeah. And I know this probably will be hard to maybe answer, but do you have like a favorite scene just for fun from the movie? Is there one
Oh
that hits
well,
you?
the June montage, of course, is a firm favorite. But I was very, very proud of two moments that I felt really I really delivered something that worked. First of all, the final scene with the Christmas and the baby, and the score is hopefully delivering something that's, first of all, you can hear Helen Mirren talking over it, and it's difficult to write something where someone's going to be speaking over the whole time. But that score does have a journey, and it changes at the right moments, and I think one of the joyful moments for me there is when, I think it's just before she says goodbye, and the music has a surge, and one of the kids says, "Benji, come over to the window," and it's just a wonderful heightened moment, and I'm really pleased with that moment. I think it's just wonderful. And then it goes outside, and then it swells up to the snow. But then another one, again, to do with the snow, is when she says, when they're having Kate and Helen Mirren are having a moment, and that she wants to put the mascara on, and she says, "I need to look good for when I'm going to die," and she says, "I'd like to come back as snow," and that, again, for me, I'd written one cue already, and I think I think the original music that I'd written for it had gone a little bit too Studio Ghibli. It had gone, it had sort of, it had sort of gone a little bit too magical. And, and I remember Kate being like, "Okay, right, yeah, okay, maybe we can try." And again, she was very, very, she had great feedback. And so I tried something else, and I was really pleased that I managed to get that piano working around their text. Again, very difficult to manage when people have got such important things to say, and you're trying to make something weave around the text. There's a moment at the end of that scene where she is reflected in the window, and you see the snow, and you see them, and there's beautiful chord change, and the strings were just sounding so amazing. And I mean, the string players were incredible. Abbey Road and Such Sweet Thunder, the people who mixed it, made it just sound immense. And I think that's a wonderful moment for me, because of the story, because of the music, because of the way it looks, because of the storytelling, because you're just seeing the snow and this woman, she's dying, she's having her mascara put on, her daughter's giving her a kiss, could be the final kiss. They don't know what's going to be, and that music just surges and is meaningful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially I do like that you pointed out the mascara scene, because that's such a sweet and heartfelt and, just a beautiful little moment there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Really loved that. Yeah. And then finally, Ben, as much as you're comfortable sharing, what did you learn about yourself as an artist through the process of making this film?
Well, I think that to bring your A game, that's obvious. You're bringing all of your skills, you're bringing all of your personality, but you're serving the story and you're serving the director. I think that I hadn't appreciated. I knew that, but to properly do it, to properly live it, the lived experience of serving that and changing things and having to leave your own ideas sometimes, to leave them because you have to serve someone else's vision it's actually really exciting. I really like that. And yeah. So I think that the idea of bringing all of your ideas and serving this wider notion, which is a huge team of people. I mean, you said yourself. I mean, it's a huge community to make a film, and you're just one little part of it. And you don't know necessarily what the final outcome is going to be. The director does, and you have to trust in that. So yeah, that was as an artist, that was a wonderful experience and a wonderful place to grow. And yeah, hopefully I'll be able to make some more like that.
Yes, hopefully. Well, thank you so much, Ben. Really, thank you. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I loved the score. I loved you're an amazing artist. So really, really, bravo
Well, thank
for
you
you.
so much. Thank you
You're
so much
welcome.
for having me. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Of course, yes. And then as a reminder to everybody listening, you can watch Goodbye June right now on Netflix. So check it out. Really, I think everybody will enjoy it. So, and even though it deals with grief, it's not a heavy, you're not going to be in for like a dour time or a depressing time or anything.
And the album, of course, is streaming and kicks off with that beautiful Gregory Porter song. And yeah, it's a good listen. I think one of the tunes is on a study or a relaxing playlist, so you can study and relax at the same time.
Yes, it's definitely relaxing, and we definitely need that. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again to Ben Harlan for sitting down with me and talking to me about your amazing score for the film Goodbye June. Once again, please make sure to check out the film on Netflix right now. To find links to all our past episodes, please head on over to our website. It's a fandomthingpod.com. And while you're there, if you would like to be a potential interview guest on the show, hit the contact us form there, and that'll shoot me an email, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you so much for listening.